Welcome to the deep dive. There's been an extraordinary amount of critical information emerging from the Western Pacific this past week.
Quite a convergence, really.
Yes, we're looking at, well, two major challenges happening at the same time, escalating geopolitical tensions and, frankly, some very serious natural disaster threats.
It's a rare situation. Our goal here is to synthesize all these different sources. We have military reports, diplomatic statements, even detailed meteorological forecasts.
And provide you, our listener, with a clear, unbiased overview. The facts, the perspectives, and what might happen next.
Exactly. Moving beyond just the headlines for a deeper understanding.
Now, before we dive in, we do want to acknowledge our sponsor, ProWave AI.
And also mention that the analysis you're hearing today is based on intelligence compiled by Stylo News.
That's right. Stylo News is the AI-powered news application that aggregates and analyzes global intelligence, well, instantly. It helps ensure we get that complete, objective picture, especially with fast-moving events like these.
Okay, so where should we start? The weather seems the most immediate threat.
Agreed. Let's start there. We're quite late in the typhoon season, late October, early November 2025. But the tropical activity in the Western Pacific is, well, it's exceptionally high.
It really is. Much higher than typical for this time of year. The complexity is striking. Initially, our sources were tracking 3 separate systems.
Right, labeled A, B, and C, I believe.
Correct. The main concern early on was System B, south of Guam. It showed signs of rapid intensification, and there was potential for it to merge with System C.
And that's happened now.
It has. That confluence has developed into Super Typhoon Fenghuang. It's also known as Phoenix or Fenghuang in different regions.
And Fenghuang has already made landfall, hasn't it?
Yes, unfortunately. It hit Luzon Island in the northern Philippines around November 9th and 10th.
But it's not over. The forecast track now is the major worry.
Precisely. After crossing the Philippines, Fenghuang moved into the South China Sea. The models show it potentially regaining strength.
Oh, great.
And then making a fairly sharp turn northward. The current projection puts it on a path towards Taiwan's southwestern coast, likely arriving between November 11th and 13th.
And this is hitting a region that's already been battered this season, the Philippines especially.
It's just relentless. You're right. They are still very much in the disaster response and recovery phase from Fenghuang's initial impact.
And that's on top of the damage from Typhoon Seagull earlier, wasn't it? That caused, what, over 200 deaths?
Tragically, yes. Over 200 fatalities confirmed from Seagull. And then you also had Typhoon Haigi, which just made landfall near Vietnam around November 6th.
So the ground is saturated, resources are stretched.
Severely strained. It's a compounding crisis situation.
So for Taiwan and southeastern China, what are the specific threats from Fenghuang now?
Well, the obvious ones are heavy rainfall, potential flooding, and very strong winds. But the marine hazards are also significant.
Like storm surge?
Storm surge, yes, and extremely high waves.
Yeah.
Some forecasts are warning of waves up to 10 meters in the Taiwan Strait.
10 meters, that's huge.
It is. And this demands a massive response, coordinating civilian and military assets, which, gets complicated when you consider everything else happening.
What are the local meteorological agencies advising?
Both the Taiwanese and Philippine authorities are stressing continuous monitoring, high-intensity monitoring. The key message is preparedness, be ready.
Even if the models vary slightly.
Exactly. While there's still some uncertainty about the precise landfall point or track, all the models agree the risk of severe impact is very high. Vigilance is critical.
It really underscores the power of nature. But, astonishingly, the geopolitical maneuvering hasn't stopped.
No rain checks on military activity, it seems.
Let's pivot then to the security situation. The big headline was China's naval power projection.
Yes, the commissioning of their 3rd aircraft carrier, the Fujian. That happened at Sanya Naval Base around November 8th or 9th.
And this isn't just another carrier, is it?
No, it's a very big deal. It's China's first domestically designed and built carrier. And crucially, it features electromagnetic catapult technology, EMALS.
Okay, EMALS. Why is that such a leap? For those of us who aren't naval experts, what does that really mean?
Right. So older carriers mostly use steam catapults. They work, but they're huge, mechanically complex, put a lot of stress on the aircraft, and limit how fast you can launch.
Okay.
EMALS uses electromagnetic energy. It's smoother, more controllable, puts less stress on the planes, and critically, it allows for launching heavier aircraft.
Heavier aircraft? Like what?
Well, potentially larger drones, electronic warfare planes, maybe future fighter designs, and it allows for a much faster launch cycle, the sortie rate.
So more planes in the air, faster, potentially more advanced planes.
Exactly. It significantly boosts the carrier's ability to project power much further and more effectively than their previous carriers could. It changes their operational reach.
And along with this new hardware, there was some pretty pointed rhetoric.
Highly provocative. Our sources picked up on comments by a Chinese military expert, Song Tao. He suggested Taiwan would be the ideal home port for the Fujian.
Wow. That's not subtle.
Not at all. It's strategic communication, plain and simple, linking this powerful new asset directly to their claims over Taiwan. It sends a clear message to Taipei and to Washington.
And this wasn't an isolated event. There were exercises too.
Correct. At the same time, the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, kicked off scheduled live-fire military exercises in the South China Sea. They ran November 10th to 11th.
Which means closing off parts of the sea to traffic.
Yes, temporary maritime access restrictions. Right when regional tensions are high and a super typhoon is approaching, the timing is significant.
So how are the U.S. and its allies responding? It seems like there's a real focus on the Philippines.
There is. The U.S. response has been quite specific. They've reinforced their military presence in the northern Philippine islands, the Batines.
And the Batines are very close to Taiwan, aren't they?
Extremely close, about 145 kilometers, strategically vital location, and the reinforcement includes advanced anti-ship missile systems.
Anti-ship missiles that close to Taiwan sends a pretty clear message. Why are those islands, the Batines, and that stretch of water so important?
They overlook the Bashi Channel. You can think of the Bashi Channel as a critical maritime highway. It connects the South China Sea to the wider Western Pacific.
A choke point.
A major choke point for naval and commercial traffic. If you can influence or control that channel, you have significant leverage. So the U.S. deployment there is clearly about establishing deterrence.
And it's not just about hardware placement, right? There's more formal cooperation happening.
Yes. They formed a U.S.-Philippines Joint Task Force, and the U.S. has secured access to key bases in Bataan Province in the Philippines.
Which helps with the readiness and operating together.
Exactly. Better interoperability, faster response times, particularly focused on that Bashi Channel area. And this cooperation extends beyond just the U.S. and Philippines.
The MMCA exercises.
Right. The Philippines recently led the Multilateral Maritime Cooperation Activities, MMCA, that involve the U.S., but also Australia and New Zealand. They practice complex operations like anti-submarine warfare and air defense in the West Philippine Sea.
And Australia seems particularly active in its response to China's moves.
Very much so. Australia's defense minister has described China's military buildup as the largest since World War II. That perception is driving major policy shifts down under.
Like what? More spending.
Significantly increased defense spending, yes. They're also procuring new frigates from Japan, interestingly enough, and they're accelerating the development of submarine drones under the AUKUS Pact.
Yeah, that's the Australia-UK US security deal.
That's the one. Primarily focused on getting Australia nuclear-powered submarine technology. It signals a very long-term commitment to counterbalancing power shifts in the region.
Okay, let's shift from the military movements to the diplomatic track. There was a major meeting recently at the APEC summit.
Yes, in Busan. President Xi Jinping and President Donald Trump met. It was their first face-to-face meeting in 6 years.
And the main outcome reported was about trade, wasn't it?
That's right, a kind of trade truce. The U.S. agreed to reduce some tariffs and suspend restrictions on rare earth exports from China. An economic deal.
But the real story, according to analysts, was what wasn't discussed.
Precisely. Taiwan was reportedly not on the agenda. It wasn't discussed.
And why is that seen as such a big deal? A win for Beijing?
Well, it suggests a prioritization, at least in that specific meeting. By focusing solely on the economic deal, the U.S. arguably allowed Xi Jinping to claim a diplomatic victory.
Implying economic issues took precedence over strategic ones like Taiwan at that moment.
That's how many analysts interpret it. It can create uncertainty among allies about the consistency of U.S. focus. Is it always strategy first, or do economic deals sometimes take priority? It raises questions.
Let's look at how the key players are officially framing the security situation now. China's Minister of Defense.
Their position is firm and consistent. They condemn U.S.-Taiwan military ties, joint patrols calling them provocations and destabilizing.
And they reaffirm their stance on Taiwan.
Unequivocally. They state the PLA is resolved to counter any moves towards Taiwan independence and defend what they consider Chinese sovereignty. The language is defensive, but the actions, like the Fujian and the exercises, are assertive.
And the U.S. and Philippine perspective, how do they counter that?
Their narrative, voiced by officials like U.S. Defense Secretary Hegseth, focuses on maintaining deterrence, ensuring a balance of power, and upholding freedom of navigation. That last point is crucial for global commerce.
And the Philippines frames it as asserting their own rights.
Yes, they see enhanced cooperation, particularly with the U.S., as necessary to protect their sovereignty against what they perceive as China's encroachment in the West Philippine Sea.
There was also that Manila dialogue recently, bringing in other international players.
Right. Japan and Germany were involved there. They strongly emphasized the critical importance of peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait.
Germany's showing commitment beyond just words, too.
Yes, they've demonstrated that commitment with naval transits through the region, which is a significant step for them.
Yeah.
And then you had the Quad statement.
The Quad, that's the Philippines, Australia, Japan, and the U.S.
Correct. They issued a joint statement.
What was the key message from the Quad?
Two main points. First, opposing any unilateral changes to the status quo by force. Second, reaffirming that the 2016 South China Sea arbitration ruling is legally binding.
That's the ruling that favored the Philippines' claims over China's, the one China rejected.
That's the one. So the Quad is explicitly using international law as a basis to counter China's claims and actions. It's a collective pushback.
And China's reaction? Predictable.
Swift and negative, yes. Their foreign ministry condemned the Quad statement, called it a false narrative and a political provocation. It just highlights how deep the divide is on maritime rights and international law in the region.
Okay, beyond official statements, what about the wider information environment? Traditional media, social media, what's the sentiment?
Well, traditional media largely follows national lines, as you might expect. Chinese state outlets like Global Times and Xinhua back the government's sovereignty claims strongly.
And Western or allied sources?
Sources like Reuters or Taiwan's UDN tend to focus more on the deterrence aspect, the allied cooperation, the risks posed by China's actions. But the social media analysis, particularly from Platform X, is quite revealing.
What did that show?
An overwhelmingly negative sentiment towards China's recent actions. We looked at key hashtags, #China, #Taiwan, #Play, #Philippines.
And the numbers.
Across those tags, the sentiment was running between 70 and 85% negative.
That high?
Yes. It reflects broad global criticism, particularly from users in the Asia-Pacific and the West. The recurring themes in the negative comments were about China's perceived expansionist agenda and actions being seen as a threat to democracy.
So a significant disconnect between Beijing's narrative and how it's being received globally, at least on that platform.
A very significant disconnect, yes. It shows widespread public skepticism about their recent moves.
Okay, as we bring this deep dive towards a close, let's summarize the immediate watch points. What should listeners be tracking in the next few days?
I think there are four key things, blending the weather and the geopolitics. First, obviously, the immediate weather. We need to watch the final track and the impact of Super Typhoon Fenghuang.
Especially on Taiwan and southeastern China, expected around November 11th to 13th.
Exactly. Preparedness there is crucial, given the storm's potential intensity and the uncertainty still in the forecast. Second, on the military side, watch the wrap-up of the PLA's live fire exercises.
They end November 11th. Are there follow-on actions, or does it quiet down?
That's the question. Third, keep an eye on the new aircraft carrier, the Fujian. Will we see immediate operational deployments, high-profile exercises, or will they take a more gradual approach to integrating it?
And the fourth point, diplomacy.
Yes, diplomacy and operational cooperation. Watch how the U.S.-Philippines Joint Task Force becomes operational on the ground, and crucially, track any progress or lack thereof on establishing reliable military-to-military communication channels between the U.S. and China.
Those channels feel especially important right now, don't they?
Absolutely critical. With tensions high, military assets operating in close proximity, and a super typhoon potentially reducing visibility and reaction times, the risk of miscalculation without clear communication lines is dangerously elevated.
This has really highlighted the incredible density of events in the Indo-Pacific right now. A next-gen aircraft carrier commissioned just days before a super typhoon threatens a key strategic island. It's a lot to track.
It really is. And navigating this kind of complexity, seeing the connections, requires more than just headlines. It needs synthesized intelligence.
Which brings us back to Stylo News. That's precisely what it's designed for, isn't it?
Exactly. Stylo News is an AI-powered application available on mobile and computer. It creates personalized, intelligence-style briefs for you.
How does it work? It pulls from many sources.
Over 250 traditional news sources globally, plus social media platforms like X. It aggregates that data, analyzes it, and distills it into a multi-dimensional picture. You get the key facts, the different perspectives, the sentiment, all in one place.
So you can customize your newsfeed and get that AI-powered analysis on demand. If you want to take control of your information flow, you should visit www.stylonews.com.
That's www.stylonews.com. You can subscribe to Stylo News there today.
Well, thank you for joining us on this very packed deep dive into a region facing simultaneous serious challenges.
We hope this breakdown of the facts, the perspectives, and the potential near-term events has been valuable for your understanding.
Please do feel free to send us topics you'd like us to tackle in future deep dives. We always appreciate your input.
And don't forget to follow Stylo News on your favorite social media platforms to stay updated.
Until next time, thank you for listening. Stay informed and keep thinking critically.